YouTube has become the new television, but that does not mean YouTube is about big studios now. It is the new television, not the old television, and it's about deeper connection, and you actually have a huge advantage. I started on YouTube 15 years ago and was able to turn that into a six-figure content business. I have produced content for some of the biggest brands and media companies. You don't need to be Hollywood to use storytelling to build a brand. I'm going to break down a storytelling approach that works for everyday YouTube creators, founders, and entrepreneurs without oversharing, overly producing, or overly relying on AI. Hi, I'm Daryn, a Writers Guild Award-winning creator and producer who helps creators, founders, and entrepreneurs energize your storytelling so that you can build a brand that people want to binge. But I will bet that the minute that I said binge, you just got imposter syndrome, right? You're thinking, am I worth binging? So we're gonna have some real talk today. We're gonna work through this. YouTube just rolled out features to enhance the TV experience for creator channels, but what does that mean for everyday creators? You don't need to shift your production, but you do need to shift your storytelling. YouTube is now about connecting across every screen, including television. You don't need to be Hollywood in this new era of YouTube because you have the authenticity advantage. When I first came on YouTube, I released a series about life during the economic crisis. Every video was a little vignette that could be watched on its own in any order, but there was a narrative thread that connected them all so you could binge. That series got me into the YouTube Partner Program, and it also earned me my first Writers Guild Award nomination. It actually changed my life because I was temping as a paralegal at the time after I got out of college, and I was able to build a six-figure content business. Now, if you're a value-based creator, you may think, I just want to share my knowledge, Daryn, but YouTube is actually a two-person conversation. I call it a two-person scene because I think like a showrunner. So storytelling elements like a channel narrative and core conflict and backstory just make your knowledge have more impact. I worked in a documentary series for PBS many years ago, and they had partnered with AOL and built this very big video platform that hosted all these short form videos that were also on YouTube. The documentary was about the women's movement, and the director could have just told a bunch of facts, but she didn't do that. She had each of these very iconic women tell her story in her own words. Then she told the experience of the women's movement through those stories. I built the social experience around it, and I was able to make it a #1 trend with 40 million video views because people connected to the stories much more than the knowledge. And this ability to connect with people through a personal narrative and personal voice is what distinguishes your channel from AI. Because AI can provide knowledge a lot faster than you, but it does not have a personal narrative or personal voice. AI could have made this video with a bunch of tips, but it wouldn't have my lived-in experiences. It's your empathy and your authenticity that gives you the advantage. So I talk about narrative here and personal voice here a lot because these are things you can develop that enhance your knowledge without involving a lot of complicated production. And usually when celebrities come on YouTube, they actually do it more like us, authentically. Like how Taylor Swift recently launched her album promo by appearing on the New Heights podcast and talking for 90 hours about bread with her boyfriend, who's now her fiance. That episode was strategically hitting on several YouTube TV content pillars right now. It was a cultural moment. It was a live stream event that incidentally brought together sports, influencers, and music, 3 huge content areas on YouTube. And it also just felt authentic. It showed Taylor as a human being. They even produced it on Riverside, which is a tool many podcasters and producers, including myself, use. You literally could make that video yourself. And Taylor is extremely smart. She is a very, very good content strategist. She understands what works on YouTube. So now what? Well, here are 3 simple ways that you can make your channel binge worthy without ruining your authenticity. First, have a channel narrative with a central conflict. Why does that make people binge? Because when they know what that repeating conflict is, then they are invested in the long run. They are like, there's more for me here. I'm in. But you say, I don't have a narrative, Daryn. I just want to share my knowledge and my experience. I usually suggest to pick from one of these 4 narrative frameworks: being in a life transition, battling an antagonist, solving a mystery, or being on a mission. The last 2 are really great channel narratives for people who are hesitant to use their personal narrative, but still want to have a channel narrative. I get a lot of questions about that. So if that is you, then I want you to look at one of those 2 channel narratives. Solving a mystery is about your passion and your curiosity for something. It's about deep dives and passionate conversations and tutorials. So if that is you, being binge worthy does not mean turning your life into a reality show that feels forced or inauthentic to you. It means having a repeatable and very clear central conflict that people connect to and want to invest in. And that is why those 4 channel narratives work. They are simple and they are clear. And clarity usually beats cleverness on YouTube. Sometimes I find that kind of annoying because I like to be clever. I'm a storyteller, but clarity usually beats cleverness on YouTube. Now, if you are a musician, a writer, an artist, I'm adding one more channel narrative just for you: reinvention. It's actually just a twist on life transition, but more specifically for artists. Because you will notice whenever a music artist drops a new album, they typically reinvent themselves, just like Taylor just did. That is for a reason, because there is conflict and curiosity. You also could play with the battling an antagonist narrative framework and have your artistic integrity, the battles you face to be true to your vision or your life purpose, be the central conflict. But on YouTube, you would talk about it so that other people can learn from it, which is a little bit different than PR. 2, have a backstory. Why? Because it not only makes you an interesting character, it makes people trust you more. But you say, Daryn, I don't want to feel fake or forced or like I'm oversharing. Vulnerability is very powerful, but if vulnerability scares you, it should be a soundbite that can be weaved in a few places: your about description, and then in a brief intro where you share why you started your channel, or a credibility fact, or even a short personal story that gets your viewer to trust you. It can also be weaved throughout your content. So when you give a tip, maybe you share a personal story. This backstory is very, very, very important to make you memorable. You don't just give tips and AI can give. You are the only person who blanks. That is the goal, to be the only person who blanks, because you are the only you. Like for me, I'm the only person telling creators to think like a showrunner, for better or worse, I guess, because my background as both an award-winning episodic creator and a 6-figure content producer gives me this unique lens into how to make your content work for any screen by using storytelling that is strategic. Lastly, you can create a series. And I know now you are like, I'm not ready for that, Daryn. But this is also not scary. You can do this in 2 really basic ways. One, you can do what I call a YouTube cliffhanger at the end of your video. The viewer gets to the end of your video, you lead them to another video. So if you have an info channel, then it would be like, now that you solved this problem, whatever that was, you need to do this, so check out this video. Then you use an end card and you link to an existing video on your channel. It's like taking your viewer on a journey to the next step. I call it a YouTube cliffhanger because it's similar to a TV cliffhanger, but it's also a little bit different. In a TV cliffhanger, the problem in that particular episode has been solved and they want to get you to watch the next episode, so they tease the next problem. But in a YouTube cliffhanger, the problem in the video has been solved, but you actually want to go backwards. You don't want to lead them to a video that doesn't exist yet. You haven't put out the next video. So that would stop them watching if you try to lead them to the next video that doesn't exist. So instead, you actually want to lead them to a video that already exists on your channel. So that way they keep watching, not waiting. Next, you can create a signature series, and it doesn't mean you're creating crazy long videos just to fill time. They can be long, they can be short, they could be shorts, actually. They can be Instagram reels. It can be a podcast, it can be a talk show, it can be a microdrama, a countdown series. Don't get overwhelmed by all of those options, but you do have options. I just released a video with a lot of juicy tactics if you're interested in creating a talk show or podcast format series. And I have a video coming up with more signature ideas that work for creators and small businesses. So if that is interesting to you, this would be a really good time to hit subscribe. But in this case, you organize the videos into a playlist, and at the end of your video, you could tell your viewers to check out the link in your description or pinned comment and link directly to that playlist for that series. In fact, stick around to the end of this video and you're probably going to see me use one of these tactics. And guess what? If you do those simple things, you're making episodic storytelling. And notice none of those things involved fancy cameras or complicated editing or feeling fake or forced. Now, if you would like more help with your storytelling, I have a couple of different ways that we can work together, and you could check that out in my YouTube description. In the meantime, check out this video that is popping up on the screen so you can tell better stories in your videos. In the meantime, keep creating and keep thinking like a showrunner.